Welcome you all to EdCam channel. In this video lecture, we are going to start about the structure of atom. Okay. So in the structure of atom, we are going to discuss about discovery of electron, discovery of proton, discovery of neutron, Rutherford experiment, and atomic terms. I think you might have seen this picture in your textbook or somewhere. This picture shows about the experimental setup of fundamental particles. Mainly the electrons was discovered from this tube. After that, the research has continued. Okay, so we'll go one by one and we'll details study about the this all fundamental particles and also how the nucleus was detected and the various atomic terms. So without a doubt, let us start. Now, discovery of electron. After Dalton's theory, it was said that atom is the fundamental particle of the matter. But that theory was rejected after the discovery of electron. So J.J. Thomson discovered the electron in the year 1897 by using a cathode ray tube. So it was clear that there are more fundamental particles are present inside the atom. So to study those fundamental particles, J.J. Thomson first started using a cathode ray tube and discovered the electron. So now we will understand what is the setup of cathode ray tube and how it works. So you can see this picture here. This is a cathode ray tube. Cathode ray because from the cathode the rays are emerging. That's why this tube is known as cathode ray tube. Okay. So now coming to the fundamental setup, a cylinder hard glass tube is fitted with a two metallic electrodes subjected to very low pressure. So you see this one is a glass tube. Okay, so in the glass tube two electrodes are fitted. This is one electrode and this is another electrode. So in the left hand side the electrode is called cathode and in the right hand side the electrode is called anode. Okay, now this tube is subjected to maintain at low pressure. So you see this is the low pressure and vacuum pump is a vacuum pump is introduced so that is to maintain the low pressure inside the tube. Okay, and a power supply of 10,000 volt. This is a 10,000 volt. This is 10,000 volt battery was introduced. Then the current flow through the cathode to anode. So the current is flowing through the cathode to anode. So this one is the cathode. From the cathode to anode, the current is flowing. When the current passes from the cathode, in the cathode some rays are emerging. Okay. So as these rays are coming from the cathode, so those rays are called cathode rays. So now we are going to discuss about the what are the properties of this cathode rays and what are the characteristics of this cathode rays and how using this cathode rays how the electron was discovered. Now look at the properties of the cathode rays. The first property says about the cathode rays moves from cathode to anode. You see the diagram. So the cathode rays is moving from cathode to anode. Cathode rays travel in a straight line. So what is the meaning? The meaning is these cathode rays, they are emerging from cathode terminal and they are going to the anode. And these cathode rays, they travel in a straight line. So the next point is these rays consist of electrons. So see in the diagram. So as you can see in the diagram, these rays as they are coming from the cathode. So what is the charge of the cathode terminal? Charge of cathode terminal is negatively charged. Okay. So what happens? One experiment was done that is called paddle wheel experiment. So the paddle wheel experiment, what it does, there is a paddle in between the path of the cathode rays. So what it does, this cathode rays, it rotates the paddle. Okay. So now a conclusion is if these rays are simply rays, that means it cannot rotate the paddle. As it is rotating the paddle, that means there are some particle nature inside the cathode. So as these particles are coming from the cathode terminal and cathode terminal is negatively charged, hence there are some negatively charged particles are present inside the cathode rays. So I think first point is clear, second point is clear, third point is also clear. Now fourth point, cathode rays travel with a high speed. Yes, the cathode rays travel with a high speed. The velocity of cathode rays is nothing but that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Okay, speed of light. Cathode rays observed with fluorescence. Fluorescence means some glow. You see, whenever this cathode rays travel towards the anode, can you see this green glow? Okay, so what it represents, that it, whenever this travels in the backside of the anode, it shows the presence of cathode rays. Okay, cathode rays consist of negatively charged particles called electron. What is the meaning? You see, as those rays carry particles, and these particles are coming out from the cathode, and cathode is negatively charged, hence those particles are called electrons. Next point is J.J. Thomson determined the charge to mass ratio. So you just remember J.J. Thomson, he cannot determine the charge of electron, but he somehow calculated the charge by mass ratio. The charge by mass ratio is 1.75 into 10 to the power 11 coulomb per kg. So you remember this unit also. Okay. So later what happens? R.A. Mulliken, he did oil drop experiment. From this oil drop experiment, he determined the charge of electron is 1 - 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Why this minus is there? Because electrons are negatively charged. What is the unit of charge? Charge unit is coulomb. So you remember the charge of electron, that is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So next we are going to discuss about discovery of proton and neutron. Okay, so proton was discovered by Goldstein in the year 1886, and proton is positively charged particles. Okay, it is component particle of anode ray. So I'm not going to discuss about detail of experimental how the proton was discovered, but you just remember that is the component particle of anode rays. Okay, so why proton was discovered? See, J.J. Thomson said in the atom there are negatively charged particles are present called electron, but as a whole atom is a neutral. So hence, if some negatively charged particles are present, there must be some positively charged particle are present. So now we are going to discuss about only the important points of proton. So proton is positively charged particles. Okay, it is positively charged particle. Charge on the proton is positive 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This is the charge of proton. Then mass of proton is 1.673 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. And proton, that means ionized form of hydrogen. H plus represent your proton. So whenever you'll see H plus is there, the represent the proton. As hydrogen has one electron and one proton, so the H plus means remove one electron, the left over is your one proton. Next is specific charge. A proton is 9.58 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb per kg. So this is the specific charge on proton. Coming to the discovery of neutron. So neutron was discovered by Chadwick in the year 1932. It is neutral particle having mass. You remember this mass. Sometime they asked about the mass also. But this is the factual values. In the numerical calculation, you can use this. So the mass of neutron is 1.675 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. Now, okay. After the discovery of electron, proton, and neutron, the theory gave by the Dalton was rejected. Dalton said that atoms are the only fundamental particle and atom cannot be divided further. But the discovery of electron, neutron, and proton says that atom can be further divided and there are subatomic particles are present inside this atom. Now a bigger question is, inside the atom there are electron, proton, and neutrons are present. But where the position of electron, proton, and neutron? To answer this question, Rutherford started an experiment. That experiment is called alpha scattering experiment. So now we are going to detail discuss about what is this alpha scattering experiment and how it was done. So now see, Rutherford carried out alpha particle experiment by the bombardment of high speed alpha particle on the thin foil gold. See, you see this experiment setup is here in the left hand side. There is one chamber. In the chamber, the radioactive substance was kept. So from the radioactive substance, so this substance, it will produce alpha rays, beta rays and gamma rays. Okay. So what happens, this radioactive substance, this chamber will allow only alpha rays. So these rays are coming out from this chamber. Those are only alpha rays. Okay. So after that, those alpha rays is passing through a narrow hole, and that alpha ray is going to bombard this thin gold foil. Okay, so the thickness is 10 to the power minus 10 meter. The gold foil is very thin. Okay, and this alpha ray is passing through this hole, and that is going to bombard it on the gold foil. So what happens after the experiment, few rays deviating this axis, so these are the deviating axis, and maximum they are penetrate through this gold foil. You see, these are the maximum. Most of this alpha rays penetrate through the gold foil, and there are very few rays which is going back with a angle of 180 degree, a reverse back. Okay, so you understand what is the meaning observation. First observation is most of the alpha particle, nearly 99%, continue with that straight line path. As you can see here, maximum percentage of alpha rays, those are penetrating through the gold foil. Next one, some of the alpha passes very close to the center of the atom and deflect by a small angle. You see these rays, those rays are deflecting by a small angle. You can see this is a small angle. Okay, and very few particles thrown back with a 180 degree. So almost very few particles, they are going back with an angle of 180 degree. Okay. In the next slide, we'll clearly visualize this gold foil, and we'll understand what are the more observations. Now, you see, this is the gold foil. So this is the gold foil. So it was so thin that those atoms are visible from the microscope. Okay, so this is, you imagine this is the gold foil. Okay, now you see from left hand side your alpha rays are coming. So if the alpha rays are coming, maximum percentage of alpha rays, those are penetrating. Okay, so maximum percentage of penetrating through the gold foil. Now you see these rays, you observe these rays, it is coming and it is deflecting with angle theta. Okay, now so now a bigger question is why it is deflecting. You see, alpha rays are generally considered about the helium atom, and alpha rays are positively charged. So alpha rays, if they are positively charged, and we know that same charge repel each other. So what happens, as these are positive rays which are passing from the nucleus or with an angle theta, so this positive charge and the alpha is positive charge, so they are going to repel when it makes with the angle theta. So what happens, it's going with away from this axis and deflecting from its axis. Okay, here you can also see the same thing, as same charge repel each other. Now you see some of the particles, they are few particles like they are coming here and they are turning back with angle of 180 degree. So I think this points is clear to you. Okay, so this is the observation, and main features, we will see that most of the particles will continue their straight path. That means most of the particle inside the atom is empty. What is the meaning? Maximum percentage of alpha particles, those are penetrating. The meaning is there are empty space present inside the atom. Okay, the center of the atom has a positive charge body called nucleus. So he said that that center from where the deflection occurs, that center is called the nucleus, which repel the positive charge. Which are the positive charge? That is alpha particle. Okay, alpha particles are positively charged. Almost all the mass of an atom is concentrated in the nucleus. See, this one is the very important point. Mass of the nucleus is concentrated in the nucleus. The size of the volume of the is very small as compared to the size of the volume of atom. You see, what is the meaning? Mass of this atom is concentrated in the nucleus. So what happens? in the nucleus, which are those positively charged particles? That is proton. So what happens? Protons are present inside the nucleus, okay, and also neutrons also. So because protons and neutrons, those decide the mass of the nucleus and volume of the atom. And you can think of a practical example. If you think of a football ground, so if football ground is a atom, then football is the nucleus. Okay. So that means there is plenty of empty space is present inside the atom. I guess these points are clear to you. Now, as we have discussed in the earlier slides, the discovery of electron, the discovery of proton, discovery of neutron, and Rutherford experiment, how those particles are present. So what happens? Take home message is, in the atom, a nucleus is present. In the nucleus, protons and neutrons are present, and electrons are present around this nucleus. Okay, so this is the negatively charged space, and inside this there is a positively charged nucleus is present. How can you represent any atom? So to represent any atom, we have to know various terms. So first term is atomic number. So what is this atomic number? I think you already familiar in the lower class also. Atomic number is represented by the Z factor. Atomic mass. Mass is represented with a capital A. So generally any atom can be represented with X, A and Z form. A and Z. What is this A? A means atomic mass, Z means atomic number, X means atomic symbol. Okay, so atomic mass is equal to number of proton plus number of neutron. I think you already know this thing. So the number of neutron can be calculated as A minus Z. Okay, you just remember A minus Z is the calculation to calculate the number of neutron. Okay, apart from this, we have to study the isotopes. So isotopes, what is the meaning of isotopes? Atom of same element with same atomic number but different mass number. So what it says that mass number is different but atomic numbers are same. For an example, now if you look at these three examples, in all these cases the Z remains same. Okay, that means the atomic number remains same, but whereas the mass number keeps changing. So these three examples are isotopes, and those are isotopes of hydrogen. Okay, next one is isotones. Isotones means element with containing same number of neutron. Remember, neutron is same, is called isotones. So isotones, see, how can we calculate isotones? As we already discussed, number of neutron can be calculated as A minus Z. So you three examples are given. You see, what is A? Here A is 30 minus 14, 31 minus 15, 32 minus 16. So in the all these three cases, neutrons remain same. So if same number of neutrons are present, then we'll call it as a isotones. Next one is isobar. Isobar means the two different atoms which have same mass number. Mass number is same but different atomic number. Example, argon, potassium and calcium. So in the three cases, you see that the mass remains same. That means A remains same, whereas the atomic number keeps changing. So this is the example of isobars. So now it's question time. So I want you to solve this question and let me know in the comment section. Question 1, 2 and 3. Okay, I will provide its answer in the last slide. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to connect with me with my social media account, my Instagram and Twitter handle is this. So now the answer time. So question number 1, the answer is A. Question number 2, the answer is C. Question number 3, the answer is A. So please like and subscribe this EdCam channel. And I already made chemical bonding and mole concept lecture. Click this EdCam channel and you can find all these videos. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay brave.